Hello there. My name is Cy Rodriguez, and I am the fit vegetarian. But these days, for a long while, and for most of my vegetarian journey, I've been a vegan. But today, I'm not here to talk to you or talk with you about specifically being a vegan. I'm here to talk with you about relationship and dating advice. And just general good relationship dating advice. And all of this is inspired by recent information that I've acquired from YouTube about Joe Best, who's known as Joe Best, Annie Jaffrey, who's known as Annie Jaffrey, and Jill from Jilicious Journey, and a little scandal that happened in Thailand with the Thai Fruit Festival. And if you don't know about the Thai Fruit Festival, then this video might not be for you, and you might not have any interest in it, but there are some things that can be learned about dating and about men and women in relationships through the things that I'm going to say. So I'm going to try and keep it as nice as possible under the circumstances. And although scandal exists, I'm hoping that I can actually lighten the blow on the scandalized by the words that I have and the understanding that I have, so that those people can kind of move on with their life in a positive way, and it can be looked at as more like a learning experience as opposed to like some really serious thing, as some people might have you believe that it is. Now, I wasn't there, but I did go out of my way to first hear Durian Ryder speak about this, and which inspired me to listen to Joe Best, who I had listened to before, and which also brought me to listen to Jill, who I realized I had seen before, but I didn't really know who she was. So when I say I've seen her before, on YouTube. So this is what I learned, is that there was word about sexual harassment going around and circulating about Joe Best. Now, just to clear the air really quickly on that, is that if it was sexual harassment, it was borderline sexual harassment, but there was one major mistake made by Joe, and that was that he told a specific tale or lie that really was probably what hurt him the most in this whole situation. And other than that, I think that, and that's probably a very hard lesson for Joe. And he obviously had some lessons to learn, like we all do, but that was probably his biggest mistake. Now, the other girls that were involved did kind of go out and talk among each other and create a story that seems at first like gossip and maybe even seems unfair to Joe. But if you look a little bit further, then you might find that that's not exactly the case. So I'm just going to kind of set the record straight here with the information and understanding that I have, which you can go verify if you would like to, and you can see for yourself through Joe Best's channel and through Jilicious Journey. I can't believe I can't say that right now. And you can check out and see what Durian Ryder has to say about it as well. So here we go. My unique spin on this is that I've been in lots of relationships. Now I'm married with 3 kids, and my outlook is that I'm done having these new men-woman relationships in the sense that I'm going to be dating, because with my particular type of background, it doesn't look like I'm going to be splitting up with my wife, and I'm not planning on doing that. I don't think she's planning on leaving me, and we're probably going to just stay together. So whatever happens will be. But I've had lots of girlfriends, lots of them, and I've also made lots of stupid mistakes in my life and been a total idiot and made a fool of myself even, and done some things I'm not proud of. So I really have a pretty broad spectrum of understanding. in the whole dating world. And when you get married and you really get to know a person well, then you realize all of the things that you did that were really unnecessary and were even immature in your previous relationships, if you really stick it out with somebody enough to like have a relationship that is of course not easy, because no relationship, at least for the most part, relationships with anybody require some kind of effort from both sides to continue on, and people can get on each other's nerves, and just generally have disagreements. So if you want to continue a relationship, eventually you're going to learn some things about your own drama and the problems you cause yourself and other people. So those things being said, the story is that Joe Best had a place in Thailand which he brought some girls into for the Thai Fruit Fest, and some people before this. He kind of had what appears to be a rental agreement with some people in a place that he had furnished and made nice so that the people that visited would really have a good time. And Joe is part of the vegan community, although we have found out that he's not 100% vegan, and it's not a big surprise. There's a lot of people that are kind of hiding their things, their old habits, and their way of life that they haven't completely given up, just so that they can kind of be the one that you look to for advice in the community that they're in. And I understand that, but I also understand that it's nice to be transparent and for people to see you for who you truly are, so that when you're learning from them and they're learning from you, that there's really an exchange of knowledge and an understanding of what's really going on, so that it helps you to make decisions based on truth rather than a facade or kind of an ideology that you might see. So Joe had a relationship, friendship with Annie Jaffrey and Jill from Jilicious Journey, and they ended up going to the Thai Fruit Festival and staying with him with some other girls in his flat, apartment, house, whatever it was. And it turns out that Joe had a crush on Jill. He's much older than she is, and he believed that there was something that could possibly be there. Turns out later that he probably liked Annie as well, and maybe one or more of the other girls in the house. And in Joe's defense, I mean, guys like girls, and hopefully girls usually like guys too. I know we can be pretty bad, but so can you girls. So yeah, just clearing the air on that. Joe is a man who's attracted to women. Now, first things first, there was a massage given, and the extent of sexual harassment that has been called on Joe is, in one case, that he held the girl's hand probably longer than she wanted to hold it for, and it was made pretty obvious at the time that she was done holding his hand. So that was one form of so-called sexual harassment. And then the other sexual harassment was more borderline, but not completely not understandable. So to me, this doesn't make Joe a bad person, and I do want to just say that you should consider this, and a lot of people are capable of something like this because of their own insecurities and the way that they approach relationships. And so I do have some advice for Joe and anybody in Joe's situation from my own experience about how to go forward and how a person might want to deal with a situation like this in the future. But what Joe did is he gave a massage, and Jill fell asleep, and while she was sleeping, he ended up changing the music to a different kind of music, and maybe he massaged on her thighs, and from the way that Jill describes it, that the whole feeling changed. She woke up and realized she was being massaged on her legs, and it felt like the energy of the massage had changed. Now, that being said, Jill is a very nice looking woman, and I understand how a man massaging a nice looking woman, if they weren't being really professional and conscious about what they were doing and staying professional, and especially if they thought there was potential of a relationship, could end up having some kind of a feeling and maybe even hoping that it might lead to something else. So, I feel this is the predicament that Joe found himself in, and it made Jill uncomfortable, which is understandable because she did not have these feelings towards Joe. So first, let's go to Joe and give some advice. Turns out he probably was flirting with some other girls, and I don't think his intentions were ever bad. He probably hoped that he might end up with one of these girls that he was attracted to, and he was kind of playing the cards with more than one girl, hoping it might work out, and maybe even trying to keep them from talking with each other about that. So because of his own insecurities and maybe even his own awareness that the way that he was handling the whole situation might become known and maybe people wouldn't approve. Those things being said, I think most men can understand at least sometime in their life that they've been attracted to more than one woman, which is I can relate to. But the problem is that obviously that's going to blow up on you, especially when people are close together and they know about each other. Second of all, there's a direct approach that I would recommend, and that is for Joe to have saved himself embarrassment, first of all, in the massage. When he realized that maybe he had pushed the limits, it would have probably been the right thing to just come out and say, hey, you know what? I'm attracted to you. I was pushing the limits to see if you were attracted to me too, and I'm putting it out there. Is there any chance at all with us? If there's not, then he could say, hey, I'm super embarrassed. I'm so sorry. I really thought that there was some possibility of a relationship here, and now that you're telling me that there's not, I'm embarrassed, and I feel like I've overstepped my bounds, and oh my gosh, what a fool I am for not having come out to you before and just said straight up to you, hey Jill, you know what? I'm all about you. You're hot. I want to get down with you in a real relationship. If he would have done that from the beginning, then, or other advice without saying anything, you really want to know how a girl feels about you? Lean in to kiss her and see what she does. You don't have to ask her for a kiss. If she rejects you completely 100% and goes a little bit crazy, then you find out right there. You say, oh, whoa, I thought there was something there. Isn't there anything there? If they say no, then, or if they laugh at you and tell you some story, then you can just say, oh, wow, okay, I guess I'm a fool for thinking that I had a chance here. Maybe later you could let me know if your feelings change one way or another. Joe found himself in a situation that he didn't know how to handle. He probably was feeling a little insecure. He probably didn't know how to deal with the situation and got a little scared, worried, and basically just didn't say anything much, although he did, I guess, apologize. He didn't clear the air about where he stands, where he wants to go, and basically settle things in an understanding way of saying, hey, I'm into you directly. So my point, be direct, get it out there, have confidence, and don't worry about it as a man if you're going to get shot down. Go for it 100%. If you get shot down, then say, okay, it didn't work this time, but maybe next time. Just go get your own game on, love yourself, be awesome, and do awesome things. And you know what? Maybe that girl is going to come back to you because she thinks you're awesome. Just go be awesome. Be good. Awesome. And remember that if somebody doesn't want you, you don't really want them anyway. just some good advice for men and some advice for you, Joe. And also just saying, I understand I've been in situations where I was insecure, and even where I went after girls that I kind of knew didn't want to be with me because they were hinting to me, and I didn't want to be hinted at. I wanted them to tell me directly, but I wasn't being direct enough myself. So I've been there before. It's embarrassing, but if I could go back to the past, I know what I would have done. I would have just went in for the kiss, and I would have declared in some way my intentions so that there was no kind of uneasiness or unsureness. And you know what? And live with the embarrassment if I get rejected. That's okay. Move on. Be awesome. Okay. Advice for men. Now, more advice for men. Women, learn that especially young women might not always know that you're really into them if you've kind of made yourself believe and them believe that you're just some great person who is there for the common good of everybody. And it seems like that's what Joe has done, and I can understand and I can relate to that. But the deal is that everybody has some kinds of motivations, and some of those motivations aren't going to be like, hey, I'm a nice guy right here. Some of those motivations are going to be like, you are hot and I like you and I want to get with you, and I want to marry you in some cases. But you've got to get out there and tell that. And a girl might not really be able to believe that you really want her like that, especially if she's younger. And she might just try to give you hints to try to be nice to you, which is what Jill did. And if you don't get those hints, then you're going to end up hurting. So that's why it's better to be direct, get rejected, and outright rejected. Call them out if you want to. If that's what you need to do, just do it. Or save yourself the embarrassment completely. Say, hey, I was attracted to you, but you know what? It doesn't seem like you're into me, so I'm moving on. But you know what? Let's be friends. Whatever. Something along those lines. But remember, younger women especially, they might be being nice to you because they truly believe that you are just some good asexual person, somebody who doesn't have any sexual motivation towards them, and they want to believe that because they like people they could just be friends with. It's understandable. So if you have clear communication, you're going to be the winner in the situation, and everybody's going to win that way. So communicate clearly. That's probably the number one lesson. Now, go into advice for women, especially younger women, because a lot of women who have been around for a while kind of know this, and they've even gotten wise to this, and a lot of girls have even become great at manipulating guys and getting what they want from guys because they know how to use what they've got to get what they want. So in the case of Jill, I don't really know too much about Annie, but I believe from listening to over an hour of Jill and over an hour of Joe, I believe that Jill is actually a really nice person. Although young, I believe, Jill, that you had good intentions and that you were really, even if you had ulterior motives, which are good, it's fine. You wanted to meet other girls, get involved with more of the YouTube community of like the healthy community, you know, the Raw Till 4, those people, I understand that. And so your intentions were to expand that, which is awesome and great, and I respect that 100%. And Joe was somebody who was connected in there, and you saw your relationship with him as a way to like expand your relationship with others and move more into that community, which is like the same thing that anybody who wanted to be a part of a community would do. So nothing wrong there. But you have to understand that people always have motivations that are unseen, but it's not hard to find out what they are if you're able to communicate clearly. And as a young person and a young woman who is learning about men, remember to be direct and tell the man. You don't have to be easy with him. Tell him straight up. If you're feeling like he's wanting you or something from you and you're not wanting to give that thing, then just say straight up to that guy, hey, you know what? It makes me uncomfortable that you're kind of hitting on me because I know it's never going to go there. I really like you as a person. I understand that it seems like you're attracted to me, but we're never going there, not to that place. So if that's what your motivation is and that's what our relationship is about, then let's end it right here and now, because that's never going to be. If you do that, you're going to find out really quickly where that man's motivations are. And it's going to give him a chance to actually bow on out before he makes a complete fool of himself if he's a little bit insecure. But there are some guys that are just straight up just not nice, meaning they're going to take advantage of you in whatever way that they can. Now in that situation, it's good that you're straight up with them too, and it's just good to be direct with them. If you're in a situation where you feel uncomfortable or really truly unsafe with somebody, then get into a situation with that person, with other people, where you do feel comfortable. And then, when other people are around, as discreetly as possible, with respect, in case he's not a bad guy, let him know that you felt like he might be attracted to you, but this is not really where you're at with him, and that's not where you want to go. And find out what his motivations are. And then you'll know. And you'll save him and you trouble. But do realize that you're not going to meet too many guys who are just all about spirituality and happiness and goodness. Yeah, sure, there are a lot of guys out there that are about spirituality, happiness, goodness, eating healthy, doing good things, but they also want to have a good-looking, nice girlfriend on their arm in a lot of cases. So if you want to be real in the real world, realize that if a guy is being your friend, he's either wants something from you, maybe it's just friendship, but he wants something from you. He wants to, maybe he wants to connect with more people through you, or maybe he wants a relationship with you, but it might not be just that he wants to be friends unless he's that kind of a guy. And there are those kinds of guys. We all know who those guys are. But those guys are more rare than you think. The usual nice guy isn't really as nice as he seems. He's after you. And he's just not able to tell you maybe. Or maybe he's too shy to tell you. And that doesn't make him bad. It doesn't make anything wrong with him. In fact, a lot of times he's probably a good guy. But if you like him, then open him up by finding out what is going on with him and what his motivations are. You might find out that he is after you and you like that and you're good with it. But if you're not, clear the air, communicate, be straight, let him know, and that way he's not going to pursue you hoping and doing kind of shady things to see if you're really receptive to him. And that doesn't make excuses for what Joe did, but the very worst thing Joe did is he lied. And he said to you, Jill, or he said about you, Jill, I know that he had slept with you. And that's low. It's just wrong. I've had people say that about me. At least one person say that about me. And when I found out that person said that about me, I was disturbed because I had no interest in them at all. And seems to me like that's about as low as it can get, is to say that you actually were with somebody who you weren't with to some other person. I mean, that's low. And that's what you got to learn. And what I know you have learned, Joe, you just don't do that. And I'm so sad for you that you made that mistake, because that might have been the real reputation breaker for you. And that being said, I'm going to wrap this up pretty quickly here, but I wanted to say that I knew about Joe before I knew about this scandal, and the message that I got from Joe was good. And I know Joe has his struggles, but I do believe that there's a good person there, just kind of a little bit immature for his age, and a little bit insecure for his age. And I think that he's quickly learning a lot of lessons in life about that. But he didn't do any really, really seriously bad thing. He basically pushed the limits with a few people, and his communication was unclear. He should have been more clear about what he was after. And if he was, he wouldn't be suffering these kind of consequences right now. But again, I just want to say I don't think that the guy should be destroyed. In fact, I think that he has some good advice and that he's on a path going in a good direction, and I hope that he can continue on that path, because I know what it's like to be looked at in a way that makes you feel like people have misunderstood you. And so I'm giving Joe the benefit of the doubt, saying that I really believe that for the most part that he's got something good and he's going to help. And I also always have hope for people. I believe in change in people for the better and in goodness in people. So I'm just saying, give Joe a chance. If he ever does anything that seems shady in this sort of way again, then I really couldn't say give Joe a chance. But I don't think that Joe is the kind of predatory person that some people may have gotten the impression that he was. And that being said, I feel pretty inspired because I love this whole relationship thing. I love talking about it, and I'm into health, and so this community, inspiring, very good stories and interesting stuff going on right now. And it was just nice to actually sit down and listen to like some different sides of a story from some people that I didn't know except for from YouTube, and really feel like, wow, that is an interesting story. When I heard one person, I believed, oh wow, I kind of understood their side, and then I heard another person, I was like, oh wow, but I really understand your side. I really understood your side, Jill. I think that your motivations seem pretty good. Like I said, I don't know Annie Jaffrey, haven't watched enough of her to really know where she's coming from. But what I saw from you seems pretty solid. So just keep it up, and keep that communication open in a real way. Don't let somebody get led on by you if you don't see any kind of hope for that person to be in a relationship with you. And hey, when it's all said and done, relationships are great, and you're going to have them. And you really just got to realize that sometimes you think you want what you don't want. So don't get all hurt if you don't end up getting together with somebody that you hoped you could get together with, because there is somebody out there that you're going to like as much, if not more, than that person. They're not the only person in the world. And more importantly, focus on being awesome and doing what's good for you and making a great life for yourself as much as you possibly can in a world that is not always easy. And I'm going to leave you with that. I'm Cy Rodriguez again. Watch me again. Subscribe and share with me, and I'm happy I get to share with you. I'll see you next time.